Welcome, strategists and executive leaders. I'm Jean Bell. Some of you may know me from the roles I've held in the nonprofit sector over the last 25 years as an executive director, a strategy consultant, a board member, and an author. All of that experience, including consulting to hundreds of brilliant justice-committed leaders, has given me a great privilege. I have lived and witnessed from every role a set of undeniable patterns in the way justice-committed organizations operate and evolve. The truth is that some of these patterns are not serving us. They keep us from finding alignment and sustaining momentum towards a shared purpose. And though the external factors right now are ferocious, to be sure, the realization that I've had is that the root of our misalignment is inside. Nonprofit organizations are frankly not designed for strategic alignment. And there's no number of strategic plans or annual retreats, as invaluable as those are, that will solve for our misalignment until we address this together. That's why today I'm excited to speak to you from a new role as co-founder of JustOrg Design, where we've been passionately focused on building and strengthening the practice of strategic alignment in justice-centered organizations. What do we mean by misalignment? Here are some of the symptoms of misalignment that many of us experience. Do you recognize any of these in your organization? Maintaining legacy programs and approaches that no longer reflect our best strategic analysis. Deferred decision-making, especially by senior leaders and executives. Creating new positions that don't result in the desired organizational change. Confusion about organizational priorities. What's most important for us to do now across our bodies of work? Meetings that don't result in people taking aligned action afterwards. Avoidance and workarounds, places where we've let misalignment fester, sometimes for years. And maybe most importantly, this nagging feeling that many of us have that pursuing shared purpose could be even more joyful. So let me get back to this realization I mentioned a moment ago, this idea that we're not designed for strategic alignment. The key here is the critical connection between organizational strategy and organizational design. By strategy, we mean how you win, how you influence change. And by design, we mean the structures and processes that energize those ways of winning. You know, it's interesting, in justice-centered nonprofits particularly, we've actually been in a very strained relationship with both strategy and design. In strategy's case, we've almost soured on the idea itself. Some of us are suspicious of its military roots or of its borrowing of corporate assumptions. Or we've just become cynical because of so many lived experiences of strategic planning processes that don't actually change the way we work together. And in design's case, we're highly ambivalent. Suspicious of hierarchy, of top-down decision-making, but we're also exhausted by our attempts at greater flatness and consensus. What are we left with? We're left without strategy as a guide and with suspicion of our own structure. It's no wonder we're struggling for alignment. We're out of relationship with its two primary sources. And yet the truth is, we will not get to sustained organizational alignment until we actively link strategy and the organizational design to energize it. Without this linkage, we're stuck in this cycle that I bet looks very familiar to you. Really well-crafted alignment events, a retreat, a new theory of change, a new strategic plan, but without the corresponding evolution in organizational design to actualize these new choices, alignment will only ever be episodic. Instead of only episodic events, we need a shared practice rooted in strategy, a practice that takes all the work of those important catalytic events and operationalizes it. At JustOrg Design, we call this the practice of strategic alignment. Alignment is created by an active linkage among strategy, the approaches that define our influence, structure, the roles and groups that generate that influence, and decision-making, the choices we make to realize that influence every day. You note that we've included decision-making as a core part of the practice of strategic alignment because it is so challenging in progressive organizations. We have to lift it up, connect it to strategy, and build competency around it right into our structures if we are ever going to sustain alignment. Strategy activation in justice-centered organizations is group work. We need groups rooted in strategy, practicing together, and forming shared habits. A shared platform is required to manage the complexities of group work that we face today. We have multiple groups that are activating interdisciplinary strategies. It's not as simple as one group, one strategy. And they're working across space and time, often no longer in the same office or even in the same time zones, and trying to sustain coherence. And that shared platform has to be an integrative system. We can no longer attempt to align people around emergent strategies across time and space with Google Docs, slide decks, or even AI. These are not integrative tools for strategy activation in justice-centered organizations. My co-founder, Dan Tucker, is a 30-year technology strategist. He and I have developed this shared platform, and we've built it expressly to the language and needs of justice-centered organizations. Here's the key. This platform is designed to engage everyone in your organization in the practice of strategic alignment. It is the platform to finally make group work work. Let me take you through it briefly. Here in blue are the inputs. The platform holds the most current elements of your strategic plan or theory of change, as well as at the bottom left there, the roles, teams, and cross-functional groups that will activate them. What's exciting about having all of this in the cloud is that we know we're always evolving in these areas. The platform makes that reality visible. It supports activation of what is now and the necessary evolution to follow. This isn't a PowerPoint deck. It's an always current platform. Here in the yellow section, your staff use this shared platform to do all the daily work of activation. They plan their bodies of work, design and facilitate effective meetings, and make strategic decisions right on the platform. This is where the shared practice happens. All of this strategy activation is captured in real time in the JustOrg Design system in the course of the work itself. No after-the-fact entry into clunky dashboards. And finally, on the right, you see the invaluable results of linking strategy, structure, and decision-making in the course of our daily work. All of that activation is broadcast in reports by team, by strategy, and by priority. We can see our own progress as it unfolds. We can celebrate. We can course correct. We can get clearer and clearer on what we're doing and why. And then the beautiful, less tangible benefits of a shared practice of strategic alignment. You see them in the bottom right there. People at all levels gain skill and confidence in their strategic thinking. People develop as leaders. Decision-making becomes a collective strength rather than an albatross. And ultimately, we know together how we are making a difference. When we all work on a shared platform, the hallowed notions of agility and adaptation can actually happen. We get more strategic as groups, and we get more strategic as an organization. Let me repeat that because it's what we all want. We get more strategic as groups, and we get more strategic as an organization. And I want to add a very important note about language. How can we build an alignment practice when we don't speak a shared language? We've all lived this, the constant debate and frustration about terms, some of which are impossible to distinguish from one another. Is it a goal or a strategy or an objective? From our combined 50 years of leadership experience, we know that people can't learn and apply all these words. This confusion about language turns people off and they tune out from strategy altogether. Because of this, choosing clear language has been an essential part of making an alignment platform. We use 4 words for strategy: purpose, values, strategies, and priorities, and 4 words for strategy activation: agenda, action, decision, commitment. This is a shared language everyone can learn. Our platform makes the language of strategy accessible finally, and it helps people practice linking their work and their decisions to shared strategy. That's what fuels learning, and that's what fuels alignment. So if, like us, you are ready to overcome the patterns that have us stuck as justice-centered organizations, please reach out. Visit our contact page and set up a time for a custom-tailored demo and a conversation, or visit our channel on YouTube for pre-recorded demos. We all need justice-centered organizations to be thriving, in resistance and in co-creation of the society we want. It's time. It's time for a shared language, for a shared platform, for a shared practice. Thank you. We hope to connect with you soon.